Now you should just be left with the task of changing some settings in the vapor so that it will work accurately. Hold down all three of the buttons below the screen until it flashes and the first settings option appears. The first setting is for units of speed, and you can choose miles per hour, mph, or kilometers per hour, kmh, by using the left button. Push the mode button to move to the tire size setting. The number you need to enter here is your tire circumference in millimeters. TrailTech shows you a few ways to find this number in their instructions, but I start off with a different method that to me is easier to get a starting figure in many cases. I call it a starting figure because so far I have not set one up with any measurement method and had it be exactly spot on to GPS readings. I'll explain how to dial it in to be more accurate later, but for now here's how I get a good starting setting. Go to my site www.49ccscoot.com and navigate to the Calculators page under the Tech and Help tab. Scroll down and you should find a calculator for tire diameter and circumference. Look at the side of your front tire and you should see numbers that designate the size. As long as your tires use this style of labeling, you can use the calculator to get a number to enter into the vapor. If your tires use a different style, such as 3.50 by 10, then you will need to take measurements as TrailTech shows in their instructions. Enter the tire info into the calculator as shown. Click Calculate and the number that you will need is the circumference in millimeters. In this case it shows 1560.74688. That should be rounded up to 1561 to enter into the vapor. Use the left button to change a number and the right button to move to the next number. Press Mode when you are finished to go to the next setting. This allows you to use a 12 or 24-hour format for the clock. Switch settings using the left button and use Mode to move on to setting the time. Use the left button to change the numbers and the right button to go to the next number. Then use the Mode button when finished. The next screen displays PPR, which stands for pulses per revolution. This setting needs to be correct so the tachometer can display RPM accurately. The options are 0.5, 1, or 2 pulses per revolution. 0.5 is for engines that make a spark every other revolution of the crankshaft. 1 is for engines that make a spark on every revolution of the crank, and 2 is for engines that spark twice each time the crank rotates. Most scooters will need this set to 1. Even though only 2 strokes go through their entire engine cycle on each revolution, and 4 strokes need a spark every other revolution, most of our small 4 strokes actually create a spark every time the crank rotates, using what is often called a wasted spark system. Press the Mode button to move to the next screen, which says Pulse. This is only for vehicles that change the number of ignition pulses at a certain RPM. Leave it at 0 for most scooters and press Mode again to go to the temperature unit screen. Use the left button to select Fahrenheit or Celsius and then press Mode. This screen allows you to set the temperature that a yellow high temperature warning light will illuminate at. Use the left button to change the value and the right button to switch between numbers. Press Mode to move on. Here you can set the temperature for the red danger indicator. This should be higher than you set the warning indicator and is set the same way. Press Mode and you should be taken to the shift indicator screen. When the RPM reaches the value it's set at, a yellow light will flash to alert you. This is normally used for manual transmissions, but you can still set it if you'd like to be made aware when the engine is at high RPM. Press Mode again to switch to the second shift indicator screen. The second setting will cause a red light to flash when RPM reaches the selected value. Push Mode when you finish to exit Settings mode. Now you are almost done with setup, but a few more steps will help you ensure that your new gauge is accurate. Start the engine and check the RPM reading. If you find that RPM reads too high, go back into settings and change the pulses per revolution to 2. If RPM reads low, try setting it to 0.5. If you would like to check your speedometer's accuracy and possibly improve it, you can use a GPS-equipped device and a ride to do so. If possible, set up a GPS device securely near the vapor. You could keep it anywhere that it receives a strong signal, but if you have a mount, you can quickly and easily see if the speeds displayed are close to the vapor's reading in real time. Make sure the trip odometer on the vapor is at 0 by holding the left and Mode buttons until it resets. You will also need to reset your GPS device so it reads exactly 0 miles. Now you can take a ride to gather some data to compare. You will need to ride at least a few miles. I prefer to ride around 10 miles because it will show a greater difference in the GPS and the gauge info if the gauge is incorrect. It doesn't really matter where or how you ride, as long as you keep the front wheel on the ground and try to avoid areas with heavy cover that could interrupt a GPS signal. After your ride, note the distance traveled on both the Vapor's trip odometer and your GPS device. You can check max speed as well, but distance is what you will use to determine if the tire circumference setting needs to be changed on the Vapor. If your GPS doesn't display mileage to at least 1 decimal point, there are websites that will create reports if you can access the GPX file on your device. I used U-Track in this example, and all I had to do was upload the GPX file and then find the right track for my most recent ride. Here you can see that it shows 10.6 miles traveled instead of the 11 miles my GPS displayed. If the distances match on the Vapor and the GPS, then your speedometer should be pretty accurate. If not, you can find a new tire size setting to improve accuracy. Go to my site www.49ccscoot.com and navigate to the Calculators page under the Tech and Help tab. Scroll down to find the Speedometer Tire Size Correction Calculator. Enter the tire size that your Vapor is currently set to in the Current Tire Size box. Then enter the mileage shown on the Vapor from your ride for the speedometer mileage and the mileage from your GPS device for the actual mileage. Click Calculate, and the number in the corrected tire size field is what you need. Enter that number into your Vapor's tire setting and your speedometer should now be more accurate. You can try another test ride with the Vapor and GPS side by side if you want to double check. If the numbers aren't equal or very near equal, you'll need to repeat the process to find a new tire size. Otherwise, you should be done setting up your Vapor and it's ready to use. If you found this video to be helpful, please like, share, and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.